back in my day, if you wanted to live stream, you had to drive around in the back of the pickup truck and sing your songs. Uphill in the driving snow. So if you've been following us, you've probably seen on a couple of our posts, it occurred to us that there is an overarching theme in a lot of our music, and that a lot of it, in one way or another, deals with mental health, or sometimes lack thereof mental health.
Oh, exactly.
So we thought, like, at least for this week, and I think this is going to be phase 1, and I don't know if we'll get right back into it again next week, but we'll be doing at least one more mental health set in the near future as well. But we're going to start this one out with a song that I wrote with my wife called Old Law Shame. And it's kind of, it's a weird one. It started out, the idea for Old Law Shame came from just a game that we were playing where we were saying the opposites of things. So we were like, what's the opposite of the band cake? Like, cake is super, like, unhealthy, so the opposite would be kale. And we just were playing that game for a while, and somebody said newfound glory, and the response that we came up with was Old Law Shame. And we're like, ooh, write that down.
Nice.
Write that down. And then we wrote a song based off of that, but the song itself has nothing to do with that game. It's kind of just about a person kind of trying to hide their shame and put a brave face forward and act like they're doing okay, when in actuality they've done a bunch of horrendous things that they don't want to talk about. So instead they just hide that shame and try to act like they're super even keel and cool, and didn't do that. Nothing that I don't know anything about that. No, it's not about me or anything. But it goes like this. My ball of shame and I shoved it down in a drawer, a simple place of hiding. Remember no more. Bury past beneath my socks. Devise a life that's free from all restraint, because I don't shed my shame. String of bad decision erased from my mind. Doesn't right my wrong, but then again, at least I feel fine. If you knew me back then, you know I live on the point of reality. The only one forgot my shame is me. Forget about Old Law Shame of mine. Forget the place, forget the time. Life done did me wrong, babe, but I act like it wasn't me. I'm happier in this reality. Pretty mama comes and she clean out my drawers. She finds my ball of shame and it ain't lost anymore. She said, what's this you hide from me? She really wants to know. Well, I said, baby, put it back beneath my clothes. Forget about Old Law Shame of mine. place, forget the time. Life done did me wrong, babe, and act like it wasn't me. Happier in this reality.
Smoke machine, lasers.
Who possibly would have said something like that?
I'll give you a hint. It's a married couple that tend to pop in weekly. Hey, Steve, that is a Sean Mahoney original. That was one of the first songs he brought to Songs of Shipwreck. I almost got Songs of Shipwreck.
What's interesting about that song is it's in its final form now, but we went through some different iterations, including one that was like. Glad we got
and that
away
always
from that
killed
one,
my
but
hand because
yeah.
I would still do the arpeggios. But boy, when I did, I felt so proud of myself.
There was like smoke coming up. We didn't need a smoke machine because literally the piano was smoking at that point.
I like Sean's of Shipwreck too, but I can't say it. It's like blah. Fun stuff. So this is our 10th Trash Cat Tuesday. This is episode 10. Happy anniversary, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for coming along for the ride, guys.
I thought you were talking to me. I'm like, dude, it's my house.
Yeah, wow, yeah.
Thanks
for coming over, man. Dude,
Wait.
you're not supposed to tell them where we are. It's an undisclosed location.
Don't really know where I live either, though. I'll give you a hint, though. It's 20 feet above me. That's where I live. Up there.
If you want to go about 80 yards from there, you'll find my house.
So the garden's coming along extraordinarily well, and
things are growing right now with all
crazy.
This rain, and then the heat, and then the rain, and then the heat.
Picking like a cucumber like every day and just slicing it up with salad. You know, it's fantastic.
I do love a good cucumber.
Now for something completely different.
This is a tough one. This has been a tough one for a couple of years now. The song is like, so now two and a half years ago now, one of my favorite singers took his own life, and this song is like written years before this, but as the details were coming out over the weeks after the news that had broken and we're finding out what happened, it's like, oh my God, like he did this song. Like
this is what he did.
It's
years later.
Yeah. So it's a really tough one, but we felt like it fits Mental Health Week perfectly.
Have to play a song
yeah.
by Scott Hutchison. It
Yeah.
had to be this one.
Frightened Rabbit is the band. Scott Hutchison was the singer. He is very upfront about his challenges with mental health, and all of those things are very front and center in his music, and this one is no exception. This is a very if this doesn't depress you, then seek professional help, I guess. I don't know. It's a very, very sad song, especially knowing that it kind of was a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
This one and Swim Till You Can't See Land are the two that just... Oh, God. So this song is called Floating on the Fourth. Just step out the front of my house, never see you again. Close my eyes for a second, and when they open, you weren't there. The door shut, I was vacuum packed, shrink wrap out of there. The spine collapsed, and the eyes rolled back, stare at my starving brain. Fully clothed, I float away. Down the Fourth, into the sea. I think I'll save suicide for another day. Picture this corpse on the ambient hearse, a half-run away to sleep, in a rolled-up coat beneath the window, and the strobe of the sun, and the life I've led. Am I ready to leap? Is peace beneath the roar of the Fourth Road Bridge? The northern side, there's a fife of mine, and a boat in the port for me. Fully clothed, I float away. Down the Fourth, into the sea. I steer myself through drunken ways. These magic gulls scream it's okay. Take your life, give it a shake, and gather up all your loose change. I think I'll save suicide for another year.
It was tougher than usual.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and I don't
Because
think
we don't talk about it before we play it usually.
I don't think we've ever played it better.
I feel good about it.
Yeah. Well,
I feel terrible.
Poor word choice.
I feel awful. I mean, we struggled for a while with whether, like, to play that song anymore. Like,
right. Oh, definitely. And we had learned it. We decided to put that and Backwards Walk into a homegrown set. I think we played it, or was it the Come On In a couple years?
the Come On In, yeah,
years?
and that would have been right
Right
after he had passed. Yeah, like right after. And I think we were already playing Floating on the Fourth at that time, and like we figured out that little like transition into Backwards Walk, which I think we did Backwards Walk recently on here.
Mm-hmm.
If you go
For
back,
the radio edits.
yeah, if you go back to our radio edits, we did Backwards Walk. That's another tune. And in fact, we did If you go back to our open
Dadgad
Dadgad set, yeah, we did the Modern Leper as well.
I love that song.
But if you don't listen to Frightened Rabbit, get your life together and go listen. Or Owl John. If Frightened Rabbit's not sad enough for you, go listen to his solo stuff from Owl John because it will break you.
Oh, great. Thanks. Text me that later because I probably will. But not
the final
Yeah.
tweet before his tweets about how he was
done.
just done and leaving and were Frank Turner telling him he had just listened to the new Owl John. That was the last tweet, was Scott thanking Frank for yeah. Rough stuff.
Gotta maybe learn an old fashioned and
I
give me a washboard
that
or
song.
something. I don't know. Just because he produces such joyful, sad music.
Yeah.
Because it's just like
It's so epic, and like
birds
Swim Till
fly
You
out.
Can't See Land is so epic and
Just love
like
it.
big and bold, and then you just listen closer and you're like, oh my god, the pain this man has.
It's kind of funny that we did Old Lost Shame, which is one of your first Shipwreck songs, and then this one is mine. The Third Floor is absolutely about how you have a friend of yours that is so down and so out, they don't even want to get off the couch, and you don't know what to do to help them, or it's like probably my first real struggle with that. Like as you grow older, you learn things like sometimes you just sit down on the couch next to them, you don't say anything, and you're just there for them. You know, but this is when I was kind of a kid that it happened, and
But old enough that you couldn't just call an adult. Like,
right. I was like, oh God, I'm the adult now.
yeah.
And then, yeah. So
What an uplifting week we're having.
I
this
know,
week.
right?
My
We did this
goodness.
to ourselves.
Yeah, we did.
2, 3, 4. Your face and stare into the empty spaces of all of the places you left behind you. But this ain't that song. Those times have come and gone, and now I wait beneath the moon. I sit and think, listening under the bridge to all of the cars passing overhead. It takes a little bit of everything to get you off my mind. The doctor says we're running out of time. Takes a little bit of all I've got to get you off your feet. Last lovers on earth in an age of scattered song.
everything to get you off my mind. The doctor says we're running out of time. Takes a little bit of all I've got to get you off your feet. Takes a little bit of everything to get you off my mind. The doctor says we're running out of time. Takes a little bit of all I've got to get you off your feet. Got you on my mind, wondering when I'll find the time it takes to seek you out. And I'll be here on the 3rd floor, underneath these shining stars, the world up high under my heart. Coming up only to hold you under. I'm coming up only to hold you down. To know me is hard, I wonder. To know me all wrong and worn. Really too late to call, so we wait for morning to wake you is all we got. To know you is hardly golden. To know you all wrong, we weren't. Every occasion I'll be ready for the funeral. Every occasion, no, once more called the funeral. Every occasion I'll be ready for the funeral. every occasion, oh, 1 million day funeral. Coming up only to hold you under. I'm coming up only to hold you down. On the outside, the dead leaves lay on the lawn. For they don't have any trees to hang upon. Every occasion I'll be ready for the funeral. And every occasion, oh, once more, called the funeral. And every occasion, I'll be ready for the funeral. Every occasion, oh, 1 million day funeral.
That was tough because I remember when we learned that, and then my grandmother died.
That song has a way of coming up. I remember learning that my Uncle Doug had passed, and that song came on like on my iPod or whatever. I think it was Spotify at that time, just like on my way home from work that day. It just like came on shuffle. It's like
Right.
just has a way. That song has a way of coming up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The
It's coming up only.
person who introduced me to that song is Gabe Heaslip, and he passed away. He was one of my brother's
Jeez.
great friends, and he had died that one in Running Up the Hill. That's one I think that would be kind of fun to do, but it's just gonna make me cry.
Yeah, Abe Curran, when it was Abe, Pat, and Bonger, used to do "Ghosts in My House" from that album.
Sure.
Such a great song,
Awesome.
such a cool cover to do
Long
too.
live the Blue Rooster.
Yeah.
And then when we first got our Ursa Minor residency, we played it, and it was the day that my cousin Josh died. And then it's like, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, that one it has that way about it. I don't know, man.
it always flowed really nicely from third floor, so it was nice to do that again. It's very rare that we ever play this many slow songs in concurrence in a set. We just don't. You know,
Right.
that's a good way
Well,
to make everybody fall asleep and not get
Yeah,
interested.
usually we're trying to keep a bar hopping and
Right. It's a good like Wusso's brunch thing, you know.
Right.
If you don't listen to the words too carefully. But you know, like something like Quiet, but when it's
You can get away with a lot of these as one-offs in bar settings because people either don't know them or they're not listening that closely, and you kind of sneak by and people are like, oh, I know that song, like that's fun or whatever.
Yeah.
And they haven't
Oh,
thought
yeah.
that carefully about it. But the next and final one of this week is a perfect example of that. This song was on the radio in the 90s, and it's clearly like everyone knows it's like a heartfelt song, but it kind of, I think at some point made its way into just cheesy 90s territory. But
Sure.
when we
And
dusted
people
it,
just sing along all
yeah,
the time.
and when we dusted it back off and I actually looked at the lyrics, I was like, wow, okay. Like, this is actually, it like I said, it kind of had become it's cheesy 90s karaoke song that everyone knows, but it's also like, song's heavy, man.
Yeah.
Like, this song's really, really heavy. There's a lot going. I mean, each verse in this song has a mental health aspect to it, but each verse is about someone different dealing with something different, and
Sure.
the thing that they have in common is that they were merely freshmen.
I hadn't heard the song in 15 years until you brought it to the table.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh. And, I had to practice it separately because you sent me that was one of the first ones that you recorded, put it up on the website,
Yeah.
and say, hey, listen to this so that we can play it at their next show. And we did. It was one of the first remote education songs for me. And I'm like, I haven't heard this in forever.
Something that we just do now. I'm
Yeah.
actually, remind me before I go, I want to take that really short XLR home so that I can, on a completely different note, tomorrow we'll be watching Liverpool lift the title for the first time in 30 years. So I'm definitely going to be doing You'll Never Walk Alone at some point from my house. I need a cable so I can do that. Y'all heard it here first. But, yeah, let's play this one. It's just one of those people sing along to it, and I think, I know I was guilty of not
knowing the
really,
words but not understanding.
yeah,
the
never really
context
giving
or-
it two thoughts of like, holy smokes. So the song is called Freshman. When I was young, I knew everything. She a punk who rarely ever took advice, was guilt-stricken, sobbing with her head on the floor, stalking baby's breath and a shoe full of rice. Can't be held responsible. She was touching her face. I won't be held responsible. She fell in love in the first place. For the life of me, I cannot remember what made us think that we were wise and would never compromise. For the life of me, I cannot believe we'd ever die. For these sins, we were merely freshmen. Best friend took a week's vacation to forget her. His girl took a week's worth of Valium and slept, and now he's guilt-stricken, sobbing with his head on the floor. Thinks about her now and how he never really wept, he says. Can't be held responsible. She was touching her face. I won't be held responsible. She fell in love in the first place. For the life of me, I cannot remember what
made us think that we were wise and would never compromise. For the life of me, I cannot believe we'd ever die for these sins. We were merely freshmen. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Try to wash our hands of all of this. We never talk of a lack in relationships, and how we're guilt-stricken, sobbing with our heads on the floor. We fell through the ice when we tried not to slip. We'd say, can't be held responsible. She was touching her face, and I won't be held responsible. She fell in love in the first place. For the life of me, I cannot remember what made us think that we were wise and we never compromise. For the life of me, I cannot believe we'd ever die for these sins. We were merely freshmen. For the life of me, I cannot remember what made us think that we were wise and we never compromise. For the life of me, I cannot believe we'd ever die for these sins. We were merely freshmen. We were merely freshmen. We were only freshmen. That is the saddest set we've ever played.
Yeah.
My goodness. We are going to do, as we were saying, a follow-up mental health week, and the plan is already to make it a little more uplifting. And
Right.
a little less, I mean, there's a lot of tragedy. Yeah.
Right. I think there might even be two, because I think there's definitely another set like this. But I think that if we do a little, call it mental recovery or mental...
Well, health. I mean, it's still mental health. It's just we're a good mental health. Although, you know, one of the...
Solidarity.
Yeah, because we're still
What we're
talking
looking
about
for.
doing a song about Sid Barrett, which, while silly and, you know, and all that, is his story is tragic as well. And same with some other originals of ours that, while more bluesy and fun, are still maybe not the... they're not as sad as these, let's put it that way.
Yeah,
but they're
exactly.
Oh, I'm going to go have a good cry.
Thank you so much for tuning in for episode 10 of Trash Cats Tuesday.
10 weeks, we did it. We haven't missed a week yet. We've
Got close a
been
couple times, but
no later than like a few minutes.
Yeah.
It's-
and it's really just thank you so much to my amazing wife, Olivia, for wrangling up those kids so that I can be here on time. And
It would
do
be a very different show if the kids were down here.